Hi, I'm Paul Duchesne. Welcome to Mama Paul's video podcast. It's Valentine's Day, so I thought I'd do something completely different and read some poetry and maybe sip on a little tea while I'm doing it. So we'll call it POETEA. I wrote it twice over there. I'm not going to make a big deal of the tea. I'm just going to come on over here for a second. I'm going to show you. I have my little Yixing teapot set up here, a little teacup, and I'm going to have a little bit of this. Let's put it at the front there. It's a white tea, Kuma-owned white tea. Whoops, let me get it right there. Kuma-owned white tea from Young Mountain. It's the most spectacular white tea I've discovered in the last few years, and it's absolutely marvelous. I like white teas. They have more of a brisk flavor. They're almost like a mild black tea. Anyway, so I have my little hot water steeper here, and you know, I am not going to pour the tea out and put it in the cup. I've already had this today, and this is actually my third steeping, so it's going to steep a little bit longer than usual. And like I said, we're not going to make a real big deal of it, but the poetry and tea seem to go together. I've had a connection with them for a long time myself, and also when I worked for a tea merchant who had a poetry person sort of on the premises who had little poetry signs written all around, and most of his poems were about tea. So I'm going to read a little bit of 5 poems. Most of them will be short pieces, and the longest one will be at the end. We're going to read a little bit of Jane Hirshfield, and I hadn't had her in the mix till I mentioned this to somebody last night, and he said, "Oh, how come you don't have Jane Hirshfield in the mix?" And I said, "Yes, you're right. I have her book." We're also going to read a little poem from Joyce Sidman, which is a marvelously, beautifully illustrated book. It's got these one-page poems with these gorgeous illustrations. We're going to do a little piece from Nikki, Giovanni. Louise Gluck, I think it's Gluck. I have a piece by her also. It's a short piece. And the longest one we're going to do is Sharon, the more erotic writer. And the piece by her, just to keep you interested, will be Clitoris and Penis, an ode to the clitoris and an ode to the penis. She has a book of odes. So starting off with Jane Hirshfield, words. Words are loyal. Whatever they name, they take the side of. As the word courage will afterwards grip you just as well and frighten girl soldiers who stand on one side of barbed wire. They frighten boy soldiers who stand on the other side. Death's clay, they look at each other with wide open eyes and words that love, peace, love, and gossip refuse to condemn them. So rereading the last line. Death's clay, they look at each other with wide open eyes and words that love, peace, love, gossip, words that love peace and words that love gossip, refuse to condemn them. It was a little difficult finding anything with love in it by Jane Hirshfield, but I dug through this one book I have of hers, which we read at the beginning last year, Ledger, marvelous book, highly recommended, very political, extremely political, which is why I had a little trouble finding what I was looking for there. I'm sure some of her other books have more of the love theme in them. This is called A Chant to Repair a Friendship, and this is by Joyce Sidman. Marvelous little picture there, and that's on the cover. And the picture for the poem, I didn't do overheads on all these today. The picture on the poem are 2 acrobatic circus-type people, and they're sort of balancing themselves on these rolling drums as they're trying to reach out to each other. So this is called Chant to Repair a Friendship. Chant to Repair a Friendship. Come, friend, forgive the past. I was wrong and I am grieving. Tell me that this break won't last. Take my hand, forgive the past. Anger's brief, but love is vast. Take my hand, don't think of leaving. Come, friend, forgive the past. I was wrong and I am grieving. Come, friend, forgive the past. I was wrong and I am grieving. Nice sentiment on St. Valentine's Day today. Nikki, Giovanni, let's see, how long have we had this? We've had these, the tea has been steeping for almost about 4.5 minutes. being that it's my third steeping, I'm going to let it steep a little bit longer. I'm going to read, this is a piece from Nikki Giovanni's. This is Blues for All the Changes. This was my first Nikki Giovanni book that I've had. I've had this one for a long time. And I have a lot of it highlighted. And this is called the Inaugural Poem. I'm going to jump into the third section of it. The Inaugural Poem. And this is about togetherness and us as a humanity. Glacial waters have dirt on top, but are blue as they melt, and even bluer as they break off. And some people say that this is an optical illusion because blue is the only color not absorbed. But I think blue is there because the earth and sky are one. The earth and sky are one. And the same, and if they are one and the same, we all have a bit of heaven and a bit of earth. And one of the things we definitely know is that the exact same proportion of salt to water in the sea is as salt to water in the human blood. So all we really know is that we are connected with everything and each other. All we know is that we are connected with everything and each other. I thought that was a beautiful sentiment for St. Valentine's Day also. Alrighty, let's put that to the side. We're going to get to the Louise Gluck. I'm going to finish this before I take a little break and start the Sharon Olds. And this one, I had to dig a little bit also. This woman is a marvelous writer, and she makes all sorts of familial stories that she writes about death and interactions and references to the Greeks. And it was difficult finding something that was even a little bit appropriate for the day, but I sort of wanted to read her. So this is called The Undertaking. The Undertaking. The darkness lifts. Imagine in your lifetime, there you are, cased in clean bark. You drift through weaving rushes, fields flooded with cotton. You are free. The river films with lilies. Shrubs appear, shoots thicken into palm. And now, all fear gives way. The light looks after you. You feel the waves' goodwill as arms widen over the water. Love, the key is turned. Extend yourself. It is the Nile. The sun is shining. Everywhere you turn is luck. You feel the waves' goodwill as arms widen over the water. Love, the key is turned. Extend yourself. It is the Nile. The sun is shining. Everywhere you turn is luck. The Undertaking. I thought that was on the positive side and mentioned the word love, which is where that was my go for the day here, to try to find in some of these poems. We're going to do the ode to the clitoris and to the penis, but first we'll have a tiny bit of tea so we don't renege on the that we said we'd have a little tea. All right, let's just come over here. And you notice I found a Keith Haring also, the We generation. I have a lot of Keith Harings, a lot of hearts in Keith Harings. There aren't that many Keith Harings that are, he's very political, and they're not always in the necessarily positive side. This is a white tea. That wasn't too long for a third steeping. But what it was the water was a little bit, back over there, the water was a little bit too cool because I had this about an hour ago, and usually when I fix the tea, I preheat the teapot, preheat the cup that I'm going to drink it out of, so everything is hot. This way we went into a cold pot with the hot water, so it's a little bit on the weak side. So we're at 9 minutes. It's probably going to take me 3 minutes or so to read both of these poems, so we'll be less than 15 minutes in total. We're at 9 right now. Ode to the Clitoris. Little eagerness, flower girl basket of soft thorn and petal, near the entry of the satin column of the inner aisle. Scout in the wilderness, wild ear which perks up, tender douser, which points, imp, shapeshifter, bench pressing biceps of a teeny goddess who is buff, lotus for grief, Wincy Miniver, who springs full armored, molten, I did not know you at 7. I thought you were God's way of addressing me when I kept swinging on the rings after the bell had rung. He didn't use his words. He used you to get my attention. He wrenched me and wrenched me. Then, in 6 or 7 wrenches of my body and brain, you, the living wrench, which winced the wrenches. Later, you would do that without God, with boys, with kisses, and later, you'd become an instrument of love's music. Today, I saw your portrait for the first time. Your dorsal vein, your artery, your cavernous body, your vestibular bulb, your suspensory ligament, and I could see how evolution got the idea from you to invent an organ something like you, but a lot bigger. You were named for the Greek hill Kalineum, K-L-I-N-E-I-N, a slope. You are the ground of our being, the tiny figure of the human, the hooded stranger who comes to the door as if we blessed her, we will be blessed. You are the ground of our being, the tiny figure of the human, the hooded stranger who comes to the door. And if we bless her, we will be blessed. All right, the next one we're going to finish with is Ode to the Penis. And this one is literally, it's almost a third longer. So it's a little bit bigger than the other one. I don't know whether that was purposely symbolic or metaphoric or what, but it is definitely almost half as much bigger. Ode to the Penis. Someone told me that what I write about men is objectifying. So I ask you, oh, general idea of the penis, do you mind being noticed? You who stand in the mind, erect and not, old and young, for all of your representations. Oh, abstract principle. Haven't you maybe been waiting for your turn to be praised? I think you're lovely and brave and so interesting. You are like a creature with your head and your trunk, as if you have a life of your own. But you are innocent. You are not your own man, and you are no more responsible for your actions than the matter of the brain for its thoughts. And you've had a mixed history. You've been taken into carnage as an instrument of it, and you yourself have been played to produce the desperate scream. Often you have not protected, nor used to protect, and oft not been respected, nor wielded to respect. And yet most of your history has been spent in joy. And I wonder how it has felt being so adored as you have been and feared. And what is it like for you if you could look down from your platonic cloud of categories? When two of you are engaged together or married, yourself primed, yourself to your own power, and being a concept, are you smart? Do you know you're equal to your sister concept? And even that you came from her. Back at the invention of the separate male, the ovaries bearing heavy toward the earth, the organ of orgasm growing and growing. I cannot imagine you from within, but as a sage said of a god, I do not want to be sugar, I want to taste sugar. But that's just my heteromania talking, and you're not homo or hetero or visible or manifest. You do not exist except as an imaginary quorum of all your instances. So I'm not flirting with you. I'm just saying I like you. Not as an object, but as a subject, a prime mover, a working theory of plumbing and ecstasy, a boy's pride and anxiety, windsock of zephyr and gale, half of the equation of creation. Ode to the Penis, half of the equation of creation. And Ode to the Clitoris, the hooded stranger who comes to the door, and if we bless her, we will be blessed. Alrighty, for Valentine's Day, peace, patience, persistence, and let's finish with a tiny bit of tea. Take a little bit of cup here. I'm sure this is going to be way better than the original pouring. Let's bring the camera down here for a second. There we are. Oops, and we'll expand it up. Okay. Okay, I didn't plan that shot well. Sorry about that. But anyway, here we are. I can see this is hotter already, and it's been steeping for about 5 minutes. Camera up, POETEA. I've been buying this tea by the pound for the last year, and it's just absolutely marvelous. I drink a lot of white tea. It's mostly what I drink is white tea, and this is without a doubt the best white tea that's been on the market in many a year. So a little poetry, a little tea, peace, patience, persistence, and we'll do another show soon. Thank you. Thanks for joining.